Hello, and welcome to the Reikai Tante Files. First of all, I'd like to say I do apologize for not having put out a video in quite a while. I'm either just really busy or I'm just lazy. I don't know. But I thank you guys for sticking with me, and hopefully one day I'll stop being lazy or busy and put out content more regularly. Alright, so on to this review. So today I'm going to be reviewing the second Yu Yu Hakusho movie. In the United States, it's known as Yu Yu Hakusho the Movie Poltergeist Report. So in case you didn't know, Poltergeist Report is a translation for Yu Yu Hakusho. So really, when you're saying, oh yeah, the Poltergeist Report movie, you're really just saying Yu Yu Hakusho again. Funimation puts Ghost Files at theirs, under their little Yu Yu Hakusho logo. It also means Yu Yu Hakusho. It's what it means. So I don't know why people always insist on calling this movie the Poltergeist Report movie. That's not its real name. Its real name is Yu Yu Hakusho Chapter of Underworld's Carnage Bonds of Fire. Oh, what a long title. I guess because this is a longer movie, we need a longer title. I don't know. It's 95 minutes long, which is comparatively longer to the other Yu Yu Hakusho movie, The Golden Seal. It was released in theaters in Japan on April 9th, 1994. The film was later dubbed into English by Central Park Media and was released on VHS on March 3rd, 1998 and DVD on October 8th, 2002. Now, I actually have the copy that was released on October 8th, 2002. I have the first release for the DVD. And I acquired this movie from... Actually, I was one of those people who bought Yu Yu Hakusho as Funimation was releasing it, and I went to go buy Rescue Yukina and The Dark Tournament Begins, and this movie was right there. And I was so excited to get this movie. It looked really cool on the cover, there's characters I've never seen before. I was really excited to get it. And when I first saw it, I thought it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I absolutely loved it. But when I go back and watch it now, I don't find it holds up as well. It's not a bad movie, but it's not a good movie either. It recycles some plot points from the series, and it doesn't really bring anything new. Also, I couldn't canonically tell you when this should happen. The Golden Seal movie, I could probably tell you when it happened. This movie, not really though. It kind of just falls into place. You can assume it takes place before Sensui, but after Toguro, but then there's some other plot holes that would arise because of that. But we're not here to discuss when this movie takes place. So I'm gonna move on past that. And I'm always surprised to find that there are a lot of people who are trying to petition Funimation to actually get this movie a dub from them and not from Central Park Media. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I really don't believe that the dub for Central Park Media is that bad. Like, it's not good. It's just like this movie. It's not good, but it's not bad. So, I really don't know. And I don't know why people are petitioning Funimation to get this thing released. Maybe they're just not aware. I have been bugging Funimation for years about releasing certain Yu Yu Hakusho things. Before the series was even done, before they were done releasing like their DVDs, I was already bugging them about Eizo Hakusho and maybe if they were going to redub the two movies. This was way a long time ago, like 2004, 2003-ish. And they pretty much they've given me several answers over the years, and when I was younger I just thought that they were blowing me off, but now that I'm older and I've actually done research on this, I find that the answers they give me actually are fairly truthful. Originally, it was, when I asked them about it, it just wasn't on their priority list. I mean, they needed to redub Dragon Ball Z for the 50th time, so that was a priority for them. Okay, that's one reason. Not a priority. Second, money. How much money are they really going to be making off of this? Because they have to put money into it, obviously. You have to pay the voice actors. You have to, pay for the rights to the movie. You have to pay for, the release of the movie. So there's a lot of cost in it. How much money are they going to be getting back from this? When this movie was first released on DVD in 2002, it wouldn't have made sense for them to acquire the rights to it to dub it, because everybody already had it. Everybody was, already watching that version of the movie. So that wouldn't have made any sense. It makes more sense now if they want to do it. It's been 13 years, so it has been enough time. But Central Park Media, if you don't know, actually shut down a couple years ago, and all of their titles are kind of in limbo. Some of them have gotten sold to other companies, but some of them are just kind of like floating in the sky. Like it's unsure of who actually owns some of these titles. So that's one of the reasons why it's going to cost Funimation a lot of money to get that title. So they have to pay a lot of money for this title, and they're not even sure if the audience is there for that. Like, why would you want to buy a DVD of something you already have just because the dub is superior? A lot of people tend to watch the sub. So let's move on to the actual review. The movie opens up with the river Styx overflowing in Spirit World. The ogres are trying to stop the water from coming in to the castle. George tells Koenma to seek refuge. Koenma decides to go to the vault and has Botan summoned there. He gives Botan something, we don't know, and asks her to bring it to Yusuke. As she's leaving, she gets struck down by lightning and falls into the overflowing river. I don't know how Botan gets to from the spirit world to the human world, so I'm just going to ignore the fact that in the next scene, oh look, she's in the human world. How did she get from, she collapsed in a river, how is she in the human world, whatever. Since I don't know how it works, we're just going to ignore that little factoid there. So she falls into Yusuke's arms, and before she passes out, she spews out some exposition about going to Kasane Shrine and finding Hinageshi. But Keiko comes, and Yusuke pawns Botan off on her. Yusuke and Kuwabara are on their way to Kasane Shrine, and suddenly they hear a girl scream, and oh my gosh, I'm just gonna get all my frustration out here. We're introduced to Hinageshi. I don't like Hinageshi. Not at all. I think she is annoying. She shouldn't have been added into this movie. I don't know. I don't know what it is about her. Maybe it's that stupid cowlick she's got going on there. Maybe it's the fact that her voice, dub and sub, is shrill as fuck and it's annoying. Maybe it's because she's just an exposition fairy for this movie. She really brings nothing there other than to give the main characters information. That's her purpose in this movie. I know you decided to make Botan the damsel in distress for this movie, but why couldn't Botan just be the exposition fairy for this movie? Couldn't we have somebody else to rescue? I don't know. Anyway. So, Yusuke and Kuwabara go and they save Hinageshi from these demon-looking creatures that have a cross-shaped mark on their forehead. Hinageshi introduces herself as a guide to the spirit world. Well, if she's a guide to the spirit world like Botan is, why is she in the human world? She has a shrine that she lives at, and she's in the human world. That doesn't make any sense. All the other spirit world guides that we've seen clearly live in the spirit world. They don't live in the human world. Botan would be the only exception I would make because she's Yusuke's assistant as well. But other than that, like, we see, like, Ayami, and there's other little Reapers that are around. Like, they're all there. They don't live in the human world. We never see them there. So it doesn't really make sense that Hinageshi gets to be an exception here. Alright, then after that, we go to Genkai Shrine. Why did we need to introduce this new setting of Kasane Shrine to find Hinageshi just so we could be at Genkai Shrine? And it's not like we're just in Genkai Shrine for a minute. No, we're there the rest of the movie. They never go back to Hinageshi Shrine. I don't understand why we introduced this new place just so that we could go back to Genkai's place. So, at Genkai Shrine, everyone's taking care of Botan, wondering what's wrong with her. Nobody knows. Kurama shows up then and says that the spirit world is gone, and then corrects himself by saying it was covered by water. So, was it gone or was it covered by water? Two different things, dude. That's like saying my basement is gone because it's flooded. It's not gone. It's still in there. It's underwater. What? And then he says that some power must have gained control of it. And that while he was there were some demons looking for something. Okay, if it was gone, how could they be looking for something? I'm gonna move on because I'm gonna keep making fun of that stupid line. And then Hinageshi says, oh, it must have been the Netherworld! And the whole time I'm watching this movie, and they keep saying Netherworld, I keep thinking Negaverse. I keep thinking of Queen Beryl and Queen Metalia. That's all I keep fucking thinking of this entire movie. How awesome would that have been? The creators are married. Wouldn't that have been awesome? Oh my gosh, I just came up with a new idea for a movie. I made this movie better suddenly. Everyone asks Hinageshi to clarify what the Netherworld is, and she talks about how she says there used to be two, like, spirit worlds. So you used to have the human world was in line with the spirit world, and the demon world was in line with the Netherworld. And then apparently the Netherworld tried to take control of the spirit world to gain control of the human world. So, the spirit world fought back and then won. Now, this is just going off on like a small tangent here, but if you read the manga, you realize that spirit world is actually kind of corrupted. So my whole like trying to make this movie better in my mind kind of thing nowadays is that wouldn't it have been kind of cool if actually the spirit world tried to take over the Netherworld to gain control of the demon world like they do now, like they're slowly taking over the demon world. Wouldn't that be such a plot twist? Like, it turns out that the spirit world was actually evil this whole time, and they were just trying to gain control, and then the Netherworld having revenge on the spirit world would kind of be justified in the fact that, like, you took over, like, our world or whatever. I kind of think that would have been kind of a neat twist. But, of course, they don't go in that fucking direction here. And then after that story, we hear that Yukina's there. Oh, yay. Kuwabara goes and, is all like, woohoo, Yukina! And then, of course, we have to get the scene. Hiei's there in the shadows. He's like, oh, Yukina. And Kurama comes out and is like, why don't you tell her you are her brother? Oh my god, really? We're introducing this shit into the movie? Get over it! We talked about this already. We've moved past this. Why are we keep So then we go back to story time with Hinageshi, and she says that they can restore power to the spirit world by unleashing the power from these elemental sites that, of course, this all happened to be in fucking Japan. They unleash the power from this, it'll restore power to the spirit world, and the spirit world will be unground, I guess, for lack of a better word. So now we have our main villains. The main villain, Yakumo, is not in the shadows, and the rest of them are, so I'll talk about them as we come across them. But he says that they are here to make the power of the spirit world into netherworld power, and that they are also now looking for the elemental sites. And of course, the next day, as our heroes go to look for the sites, the netherworld is one step ahead of them, and has already destroyed the first one, and has already converted the spiritual power into netherworld power. So now the race is on to try to find the elemental sites before the others do. So the first villain we come across is actually Yakumo, which is kind of weird. Usually, the big villain comes last, but whatever. So we come across Yakumo first. Oh yeah, after Yusuke tries to, he beats up some netherworld demons, try to destroy the elemental sites so that he can get the spirit power, but of course, being too slow or whatever. I mean, time is of the essence here. So Yakumo comes, and he is actually looking for something else other than just the elemental sites. He puts Hinageshi in, like, a sack of some kind, and is looking for something in her body, I'm assuming, and she doesn't have it. Of course not. Yusuke and Yakumo have kind of a fight here, and of course Yusuke is not able to defeat Yakumo, and he's way too weak, of course. This is how it always happens in Yu Yu Hakusho. But of course Yakumo leaves before actually, defeating Yusuke. When does that make sense? Why don't the villains in this series ever learn? Yakumo reveals that he's actually looking for the Power Sphere, which is the source of all the Netherworld's energy. Power Sphere, that kind of sounds familiar. I can't put my finger on it yet, but I'm sure I'll get to it. The next villain we come across is Majari. and he is going to fight Kuwabara. Now, I have to admit that I kind of do like Majari's power. He has the power to mimic other people's spiritual attacks. So when Kuwabara pulls out his spirit sword, Majari is able to mimic that power, and he now also has a spirit sword. While that's going on, Hiei is actually also looking for one of these elemental sites, and he comes across these two, like, bat-looking demons, and he's fighting them. And after he defeats them, he sees Reigo, who is another one of Yakumo's minions. And he also has an evil eye. It's not a Dragon, it's just an evil eye. And he uses that eye quickly and just, like, knocks Hiei out. Alright, it's getting interesting. We got Evil Eye versus Evil Eye. Okay, I haven't seen that yet. Alright, I'm interested to see what else Reigo can do with this. Then we cut to our next villain. Next we have Kurama, who is, I guess, trying to harness the power of this elemental site, though I don't know how. We've seen the other ones just get destroyed, and that's how the power for those is harnessed. And then he comes across Kaiki, who is able to transform via the memories of whomever he is battling. So he has now deceived Kurama into believing that he killed his best friend, Koronaway. Okay. Alright. I don't like this plot point at all. No, I don't. Let me tell you why I don't like this plot point. Yoko Kurama was evil. Like, legit. In all the other flashbacks we've seen of him in the series, in the manga, he's not a nice person. Even when he had a partner that's canon, Yomi, he still tried to have him killed because, he was reckless and always getting in the way, so he decided to have him killed. Like, I feel like that he would have done the same thing. He would have just fucking left Koronaway there if he had been, if he had gone back to go get that silly pendant that he's, flicking around. But I don't believe this at all. And Kurama's all like, no, I tried to save you. Okay, what would have been better is if he actually did leave Koronaway for dead and he came back, and now Kurama feels guilty because he has a human conscience now. That would have been better. I don't know why they decided to change Yoko Kurama's character so much, but it's not how it is. That's why I don't like this part here, and that's why I don't like it when people always say that, oh, Yoko Kurama's such a... No, fangirls. You are making an idealized version of Yoko Kurama, which Yoko Kurama should not be your ideal person. Aside to the stomach, of course, Kurama and his stomach wounds, we should just have a counter for that. We cut back to Kuwabara battling Majari. Kuwabara figures out, though, that since Majari only has the ability to mirror spiritual power, that he needs to trick Majari into getting rid of all of his nega power, or whatever you want to call it. So he does this, and then Kuwabara reveals that that was his plan, and that in a test of strength that he could not defeat Kuwabara, so Kuwabara punches him and defeats him, apparently. Alright, so now we have one Makai god down. And now they think that they're able to destroy that elemental site, but no, sadly unable to do that as well. And, god damn it, Hiei, why'd you save Hinageshi? We could have had her out of this movie forever! Ugh. Next day, Reigo and Yakumo are actually on their way to Genkai's temple to... what else? Get Botan. You have to have a damsel in distress, more distress somehow. Her body is reacting, I guess, to Yakumo's presence. And Yukina and Genkai goes out to fight Yakumo and Reigo, but of course is overpowered. And then Yukina, uncharacteristically, also is actually like, stay away! Don't you remember when she freaking saw Toguro during the tournament? She couldn't freaking speak. Alright, I highly doubt she'd be able to muster the words, stay away. And she is also thrown against the wall. The power sphere that Yakumo was looking for is actually inside of Botan's body. And I don't know how he didn't have to put her in a sack in order to find that out either, but whatever. Yusuke and Keiko show up though, and of course Yusuke is like, oh, I'm angry, let's fight. He just looks like a puppy dog in this whole movie, I swear to God. And then Keiko comes and actually gets blown away by by Yakumo's power. And I'm sorry, the way that they roll her down the stairs is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God. It is kind of funny. It's almost worth watching the movie just for a couple funny moments like that. So Yakumo defeats Yusuke again and takes Botan with him. Everyone meets back up at Genkai's shrine, and of course everyone's really mad because of whatever they got going on. Yusuke's mad because he couldn't protect Genkai, Botan, or Keiko. Kurama's mad that he can't remember if he killed his best friend or not. Hiei's mad that Yukina got thrown into a wall, and Kuwabara's also mad about that, but he's already defeated his god, so he really has no more point in this movie for the next couple, minutes, so whatever. And of course, Hinageshi's like, I let Bowtie down! Shut up! And then we get, like, what I like to call an 80s montage, where they're all getting ready for battle, Kurama gives the fangirls what they want finally, and actually takes off his shirt and gets into a lake. It's awesome! That's also worth the price of this movie. They all end up meeting up one by one, like they're all like walking down they're all walking down this alley, and it's like VIP style, and they're all like meeting up, and it's just like this really kind of cool moment. And then of course the movie's got to suck all the coolness out of it eventually, but yay! So the first villain they come across again is Kaiki, and Kurama says he has to fight him on his own because he still believes it's Koronaway. After fighting him for a while, him and Hiei kind of figure out that it isn't Koronaway. Hiei explains to the audience that the sighs that he used are actually induce a sound that gives him the ability to create illusions. Kurama figures it out when Kaiki throws away the pendant that Koronaway would have always have carried with him, and that's the reason why he died in the first place. So Kurama figures out that it's not his friend Koronaway. And actually, Kurama does this really awesome move. First of all, if you notice in the bath scene, I don't know if anybody else did, I was too busy staring at Kurama, but if you notice, he actually gets bamboo from the lake, and he's putting it into his hair and stuff like that. So one of the things he does is he actually and makes a sword out of it. I've never seen Kurama use a sword. It's kind of awesome. And then after his rage explodes over the fact that he thought that, that he really did kill his best friend for a while or whatever, even though it's utter bullshit, he unleashes his rage, and this entire bamboo forest comes up, and it's all these spikes and everything, and it impales Kaiki, and it also mirrors the fact that Koronaway was killed by bamboo spikes. So, props to you, movie. This was awesome. If it wasn't for the fucking Koronaway thing, that stupid ass backstory, it would have been cool. But I like the parallel there, and I like the fact that Kurama actually showed rage, and that's the reason why he was able to induce that large attack. He does feel guilty, however, though, that he wasn't able to save Koronaway all those years ago, and he kind of just tells him that everybody's got regrets, so move on. Next villain we come across is Reigo, and he reveals that he is the one that hurt Yukina, so of course, first Kuwabara tries to fight him, and then Hiei says, no, you don't have any spirit power, so I'm gonna fight him. So they have a sparring match for a little bit, and then Reigo reveals that his evil eye actually can bring out the inner evil of humans, demons, whatever. And so he could sense that he had some evil in him, and he was actually going to bring out that evil and turn him against his friends. This also sounds like a plot point of something else. Can't put my finger on it. Anyway, so So he actually does manage to turn Hiei evil. And again, I have to admit, I'm actually kind of happy that they did this because when he turns Hiei evil, it brings out his true demon form, which is the green form with all the eyes on it, which we only see once in the entire series, anime or manga. So this is also kind of cool just to see this again. And then he unleashes the Black Dragon, and everyone's like, oh shit, man, Hiei's evil, we're all gonna die. But then Hiei at the last second goes, and then he reveals that he had control the whole time, and then he incinerates Rego. And that's also kind of awesome, because you do get to see, like, flesh melting and stuff. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, Hiei falls asleep. Not after saying that, you know, Rego's evil eye was no match for the power of the Jigan. Of course, apparently nothing is. So, Kurama, Hiei, and Kuwabara kind of stay behind for a little bit, just to catch their breath, I guess, while Hinageshi and Yusuke go off to finally battle the final boss, Yakumo. So, we cut to Yakumo attempting to get the power sphere out of Botan. Yusuke shows up, and then Yakumo is able to actually fight off Botan and pull the power sphere out of her. Now he has it in his hand, and he slings Botan across the floor, and then they're all like, I'm sorry, Botan, and she's like, oh, I should have known. Bitch, how could you have known this? Nobody fucking knew about this. She didn't fucking tell anybody. What she should have done before she passed out and say, go to Kasane Shrine and fight Hinageshi. She should have said, what she should have said was, I have the power sphere in my body, there are villains coming after me, fucking hide me. That's really what she should have fucking said. And then, of course, Yusuke has to, you know, be all big and bad, and he's gonna go fight. But now that Yakumo has the power sphere, he is now unleashing the power of the power sphere. He absorbs it into his body, and whatever building that they're on, he makes it into, like, this, like, little castle. And now he's got, like, this, like, armor and everything on. I guess it's his kingly armor or whatever. Wait a minute. Absorbed a power sphere into the body. Where does this... Oh, what?! You ripped off your own fucking story! Oh, shit! If you haven't watched Yu Yu Hakusho, then you should know that this is a plot point from the Dark Tournament, where Genkai has to unleash her Spirit Wave Orb, which has all her spirit power inside of it, which she's going to give to Yusuke. It is very hard to control, which is why Botan could not hold the Power Sphere in her body without being utterly ill. So, all the similarities are there. And so, this has all the Netherworld power into it, and with it, Yakumo becomes more powerful. When Yusuke gained the power of the Power Sphere, he was able to defeat Toguro. So, they fucking just... trying to keep my rage in check. Okay. So, of course, now Yusuke is he wasn't any match for Yakumo before, and he's certainly now not a match for him now. And then Yakumo finally tells us how the fuck they got out of, you know, being sealed away. That's another thing, too, in these kind of movies. Why are the powers of darkness always just sealed away? Why aren't they ever, like, obliviated or destroyed? It's just so they can come back and just have shit movies like this, I swear to God. So, he explains that there were humans that were too evil for Spirit World to take control of. So, their evil energy got sent off into outer space, where the Netherworld was able to feed off of that negative energy, and then they were able to come back into the human world in order to try to take over. I'm sorry, that is the lamest fucking excuse I've ever heard. Also, outer space? We've already confirmed that there are, like, there's different planes of existence. Why couldn't you just have some other reality that you guys were sealed into? Outer space? Really? I don't get that at all. It just kind of seems, like, out of place in this. This movie is all about, like, isn't really like aliens or anything. It's all about humans and demons and stuff like that. It's just it's just different planes of existence, not different worlds. So Yusuke and Yakumo continue to fight, and then Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama do all finally show up. Somehow Kuwabara can catch a blast from Yakumo when Yusuke couldn't even fucking block it. I don't fucking believe that in the slightest, movie. I don't believe that. So, stupidly, Yakumo pulls the power sphere out of his body and is now just like holding it. Apparently he gets more power that way. I don't fucking know how it works. Whatever. Hinageshi tries to get it back from him. Kurama and Hiei also try to get it back from him. You know, of course, they're all just, like, swatted like flies or whatever. And, but in that whole little brawl, Yakumo drops the power sphere. If he's dropped the power sphere, he doesn't have the power anymore. Why is his little, like, castle still up? Why is his little cape thingy there? How does he still have his power? I don't understand how this is working right now. Anyway, so it's on the floor, and so Yusuke goes to approach it, and Yakumo's like, please, you ain't gonna be able to control the power of that. And then Yusuke says, well, I have to effing try because I'm Yusuke Urameshi, and he picks up the power sphere, and Yakumo's just standing there, just like, whatever, you ain't gonna control it. But of course, Yusuke is able to control the power, and he is then joined by Kuwabara, Kurama, and Hiei for an all-out powwow, if you will. So with all of his friends now together, and they're all taking some power, Yusuke is able to convert the netherworld power into spiritual power and absorb the orb into his person. As this happens, the castle starts to crumble, which I think should have happened earlier, but whatever. And then, okay, I kind of have to admit this is cool. So Yakumo unleashes some attacks onto Yusuke and friends, and is now actually on the losing side. Now he's unable to actually pierce their little barrier that they have going on. Yusuke then fires his spirit gun at him. Yakumo is able to dodge it, but then Kurama uses his power, and he turns the spirit gun into a rose whip. What? I've never fucking heard of such a thing. It's so cool and so absurd all at the same time. And then, so it's whipping, Yakumo is trying to get him, and then he finally gets it, and Yakumo's like holding on to it, and then all of a sudden, Hiei puts in his energy, and it becomes a fucking dragon? What the hell? Again, this is so absurd! The dragon blows Yakumo's ass all the way down to the lower level of the building, and they finally believe that they have defeated Yakumo. Oh my god. I'm sorry, it was, like, awesome, but so stupid at the same time. I mean, I like the fact that all their energy became one and they were able to, like, do this, like, really awesome thing, but holy shit! Like, I don't even know what to say about it. As they're walking away, Yusuke remembers Hinageshi, and he goes to look for her. The rest of the team is smarter, though, and keeps fucking walking. But of course, Yakumo's not dead, and he comes back to try to get the power sphere from Yusuke again. Him and Yusuke are fighting, and they're, like, falling down the shaft that was created by Hiei's dragon, and in, like, a bizarre thing, Yusuke gets the power sphere out of his body, Yakumo's falling down, he throws the power sphere down at Yakumo, and then fires his spirit gun, destroying both of them. What would have happened if Yakumo would have touched that? Because he's reaching up towards it like he's gonna get it. What would have happened if he would have touched that? Come on, Yusuke, you gotta fucking think about that. Why didn't he keep the sphere? I don't understand. Why didn't he just destroy Yakumo and keep the sphere? I don't know. These things aren't... Maybe it's because, like, it's one of those things like, oh, well, if it wasn't destroyed, someone else would just come and look for it. No, it's inside you, Yusuke. You have the ability to control it. It's spiritual energy now. If you destroy Yakumo, you've already destroyed all the other Makai gods. You actually killed them. You didn't destroy them. So, you didn't just send them off into space or whatever kind of shit. So, they can't fucking come back regardless. Why didn't you just keep this power? So then everybody's like just kind of like laying on the roof, they got rubble on them, everyone's there, Yusuke's holding Botan, and then it looks like, I guess, rain or something is falling down from the sky, and then Hinageshi's like, oh, Has the spirit world been restored? You know what, Hinageshi? That's a good fucking question. A question we never really get answer to. We never go back to the spirit world. Koenma never shows up and is like, oh yeah, thanks guys for saving us. Nothing. It just, like, kind of ends with, you know, all the Botan and Yusuke shippers are really happy at this point because they're, like, holding each other, and Botan's like, Yusuke, and they're, like, smiling and, like, all this shit, and then it kind of just ends bizarrely with, like, so is he really gone? They're like, it's like this weird dialogue where, is he really gone? And they're like, well, if he's not gone, we'll beat him again. And they're all just, like, standing there laughing, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, it's just kind of a weird note to end the movie on, especially since it's not, like, a definitive answer if the spirit world really is, like, if it's fixed or not. I don't know what that is. Was it rain? Was it spiritual power? What the fuck was it? We're not really told. I don't know. So, all in all, then the movie ends with probably my favorite part of the movie. The ending theme. The ending theme is called Sayonara wa Iwanai, and it's sung by Persons. I love this song. This is my favorite Yu Yu Hakusho song. Out of all the openings, endings, character songs, background music, I love this song so much. When I first got this DVD, I almost wore out the DVD player because I would just pop it in and just listen to the song for hours. That's how much I loved it. And to this day, it's still my favorite. I absolutely love it. It is perfect. I will say, this movie's saving grace overall is that it does have a great soundtrack. It brings some of the music in from the series, but it also puts in a lot of, like, new, like, kind of creepy, you know, like, new sounds and stuff like that. So, I really do enjoy the soundtrack to this movie overall. So, I do think that that's a plus. Story-wise, the story itself is kind of lame, especially when there's something that's actually kind of similar that's canon that I would have much rather seen a movie of. I mentioned this in one of my other videos in the last volume of the manga. There is a chapter where terrorists actually take over the spirit world, and Yusuke has to go and save Koenma and Botan from the terrorists. I would have loved to see the story expanded and created into a movie. That would have created a much better story than whatever this was. There's too many plot holes, the characters themselves are kind of forgettable, and overall, it's just weak dialogue. The action actually is pretty good at certain points. I think Kurama has a lot of really good scenes. That preposterous scene where Yusuke's spirit gun turns into a rose whip and then turns into a dragon. It's really cool, but still kind of stupid all at the same time. Overall, though, I know I talked a lot of shit about this movie. I still like it because it's a Yu Yu Hakusho movie, and I still think that there is a lot of good stuff in it, but there's just way too much bad stuff in it. And people, like, dying to get this movie re-released has really made me think of the quality of this movie. Is it really even worth re-releasing? I feel like that the version that we have is just fine. I don't feel like Funimation could really bring anything else to this movie that we haven't already gotten besides a different cast. And personally, I like the Golden Seal movie a lot better. I think that it has a more original story, even though the action isn't very long. I still feel like that it actually supplied us with an original villain. This movie, though, not really. The whole power sphere thing for me, it really made me mad when I finally realized that it was the same plot point that was already in the movie. There are some things that are already similar to other series, but I will let that slide. But the power sphere thing just gets me so angry, and it's probably the main reason why I can't call this movie a good movie. Fans of Yu Yu Hakusho should definitely give it a watch. And if you like Yu Yu Hakusho a lot, like me, you'll probably like it. For the occasional watcher, or for somebody who's just watching this movie on its own, you probably won't like it very much. Alright, that's all I have to say about this movie, and until next time, sayonara, bye-bye.